Welcome back, team, to today's video. Today's video is just going to be a collective reading. And the theme of the collective reading is actually going to be like what they are saying and what they are not saying about you. So a bit of a funny topic to come through for a collective read, but it does make it helpful in titling the video so people can know whether this is, something they want to spend their time listening to or entertaining as it is anyway. Okay, and with that being said, we will get started with the reading. All right, so first card we have is Three of Cups. So definitely like a card of good times and good people around and a new beginning. So this could just be in reference to a new beginning from like an old friendship group or something like that as well. Yeah, and someone's not very happy with the fact that you have this new beginning here. So it would be their wish fulfillment to see something bad happen to you, or for you to be like betrayed in some way, or for some sort of action that they want to take towards you to actually like come to fruition. And I don't feel like this is necessarily like, physically detrimental, although in terms of your nervous system, it could be. It feels more like a social injustice. It feels more like wanting to put you at odds with other people. It feels more like trying to paint you the bad guy or seeing you suffer socially. It feels like wanting to break your confidence and willpower. It feels like wanting to take away your personal power and sense of fulfillment and like nurturing support that you actually naturally garner throughout the world when you move through it the way that you do really beautifully with grace. And so it's like, they just, some of them, it's like that, very much that analogy of like wanting to tear you down to pull themselves up kind of thing. Like they'll use that as like a way to be able to do that. Others of them, it's like they just can't help themselves because they're so kind of consumed in their emotions or like whatever it is. It does feel like a bit of an ego thing, or it's like, definitely an ego thing. But I am getting the words like lack of remorse as well. So it's kind of like a person that just generally or genuinely does not have a lot of empathy, which is actually really weird because I kind of feel like when you're in this Three of Cups place, they did have a lot of empathy. And they may have seen you have some type of like new offer, new opportunity or new beginning come that kind of they felt like they were entitled to, or they deserved, or they felt like it was taking something from them. I don't know what that is. We'll just keep going. Okay, yeah. So I'm hearing, so when you left, they felt like, so you've left this situation. So, I don't know whether it was you or both of you. Both of you, I feel like, would have been upset at the parting of ways here. But no one really knew what was going to happen. And I feel like you have surprise people in terms of how you have stepped out in your own individual energy. Like you have been confident on your own. You're okay with being that person. You're okay with like, you're all good. You've got it sorted. You don't need like any like other, extra people hanging around that are just going to take up your time and mental capacity or bandwidth, right? I just see her. I'm looking at this Nine of Pentacles, and she's good. She's got so much abundance for herself, and she's doing what she wants, and it seems really peaceful, and it seems like it's graceful. There's lots of grace coming through in this reading, and I feel like it's one of those things that this person can't help themselves but kind of narrow in on as well, which is a bit weird, but anyway. And so it's like, I think that you may have had spirit or the universe on your side as you've been going through this, and they have helped you kind of, in essence, transmute whatever this was. And it actually has turned out to be better for you. It's turned out to be, I don't know, I keep getting like the energy of the glow up coming through in the last couple of months. So no matter what that looks like, whether that was actually like a physical glow up or like just anything, it literally could be anything, this glow up. It's like something about you has either made a massive comeback or it's been exponential growth. That it's like I kind of see like a few different things here too. Like I don't feel like it's just in one area. Like I feel like, yeah, something about maybe having a physical glow up, but then also maybe being like comfortable in terms of like your security, like your financial security or something, or even just like getting your physical health on check. So like it doesn't have to be all of these things, but definitely like more than one. But there's also something here about it's like being down to earth, but there's a quiet confidence here. You've got it sorted. You're good. You're okay. You don't need whatever that was. It was good while it lasted, and that was great. And I feel like you probably didn't want things to go the way that they did, but it's not on you the choices that other people make when they feel the need to kind of want to tear you down or take from you in ways that is unwarranted. So yes, and I kind of feel like this person in some ways is being called to go on some sort of independent journey. And I'm almost getting like the Four of Cups in an image like come through where they're not really wanting to be on their own. They're not really happy with the way things have panned out, or it is giving a little bit of like an ungrateful energy for like where they are at this place in time, and a call for them to actively sort of start on the journey of some type of shadow work or some sort of transmuting their own state of being, state of consciousness. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, so it looks like there's another person here that's actually like keeping an eye on you. And I think they're just kind of drawn into whatever they've seen on the periphery. So it's like maybe what this first person that you've had some sort of like this seems like it's following off the back of that no contact reading, potentially, not necessarily, but the no contact collective that I did not that long ago, where it's like, what has just happened here? So this person doesn't want you talking about things. They don't want you to share your side of the story. They only want to tell their narrative. I feel like that's pretty typical sort of stuff that we get with it. It's a little bit tiring. But it's like the things that they would say and the things that they would not say. I don't feel like they would give you your props here, but I do feel like there is part of them that cannot, no matter how much they would like to try to deny it, whether it's like in conversation to others or even just themselves. I feel like it's both. There is something undeniable about you. There's some sort of like wild card factor that you have where it's like spontaneous, unpredictable, it cannot be replicated. They cannot predict, you cannot predict something. They cannot predict something here about you. So it's like, they probably say a lot of things that would just kind of feed into their narrative, but there are certain things that they won't deny. So there's obvious things they won't deny that are kind of like, experiences that you've been through that like a general group of people or mutual friends that you all know would already know about, right? So the things, if people know you to have a certain type of like occupation or be in a certain industry, or maybe if you've gone through a breakup or recently been married or have kids, there are things like that like everyone's just going to know anyway. But there are things here that I feel like when it really comes down to it, every now and then they kind of catch themselves slipping, where they kind of forget that they're painting a picture. And most of the time I feel like this person just leaves things out that are like conveniently make them look better or make you look worse, or kind of leave a lot up to question so that people don't really understand why you've done things the way that you have. But there is something here every now and then, maybe if it's just talking to a person that they are really comfortable with, if they have like a close-knit like little group of friends, just a couple of them even, where they kind of get lost in the conversation or a memory, and they actually forget that they're painting some sort of narrative here, and they accidentally say exactly what happened, like the truth of a situation. They accidentally admit that you were really good in one type of scenario. They accidentally like reminisce on how you guys used to actually have like a lot of good times or were really close in some way. And so it's like, they probably put out to the world that they're very unbothered and that they are above all of whatever this is. And I think that these people on the inner circle know that it's definitely not the case. that they definitely have a bit of work to do here around this. But there's something here that, excuse me, no matter what, it's getting really hard for me to talk. Yeah, it's undeniable for them. There's something here that no matter how they tell the story, something's not adding up. And I feel like if it hasn't happened already, where they have a slip up themselves, which I feel definitely has, Spirit is going to sort of bring a catalyst forward or bring something to a head where they're forced into a position where like maybe they're in front of someone that they normally wouldn't admit it, or they've not actually let their guard down around and let something accidentally slip before, where something's going to come out to the wrong person. So I feel like when this happens, I don't know if I would say it'll be on the verge of a mental breakdown, but I feel like it will probably drive their anxiety through the roof. It will cause them lots of stress, lots of worry. They won't know how to act, how to move forward. I think they'll probably get in their head quite a lot. It wouldn't surprise me if they just try to distract themselves, but for some of them, they actually are going to be forced to move on in some type of way. It's like maybe they realize that whatever it was that they tried to do here isn't working, or they've been caught out, I heard caught red-handed, and that they will be forced to move on. And so it's like to their version of greener pastures, which is probably what they will say. But what they wouldn't say is that they feel like they've kind of burnt the bridges within this like group or something like that. Okay, so I feel like we want to get more cards and sort of extend on this, what they would say and what they wouldn't say. So this glow up energy, I feel like to a degree, they would say that you've had a glow up. They would admit it because it's obvious, because everyone's said it or talking about it in some way. But what they wouldn't say is that it was like an honest glow up or came out of like honest work, or that it was, they would try to taint it with a superficial tint or lens. Like they would try to say that, like, let's say if you lost weight, they would say it's just because you got sick. And if you, I don't know, like things like that, okay? And so we don't really want to like project here. And I do feel like this group, for you guys, it's kind of less important to get bogged down in the details of what has and hasn't happened. Because for some of you, you actually could have had something like that happen. But there's probably a few more factors feeding into like this whole holistic glow up, right? Or the whole circumstances. But yeah, it's a key point here where we don't want to get too bogged down in the details. But I feel like for most of you, you probably wouldn't care because you are too busy winning. And I feel like this person is actually a karmic. And they are the type of person that will say anything, do anything, make shit up, and are very dramatic. And I feel like you guys, you would know that about this person. You wouldn't need to be told. You wouldn't need to kind of say it to anyone. You wouldn't need to really put it out there. I feel like it very much speaks for itself. And I feel like it would give an air of, yeah, this person being on their own anyway. Okay, so I definitely feel like this person would just want to, they very much give me needing to have things their way. But we also have girl fight here with arguments, physical fight, at war, and competing. So whether, it doesn't matter what gender this is, but there's definitely some type of like cat fight energy here, or just even if it's not like a cat fight, it's like the competing energy. And yeah, okay. Spirit, what can we do with this? Is there more here that's actually going to be helpful for the collective in this scenario? I feel like some of you may have actually been questioning what's happened here. If you're kind of on the receiving end of somebody coming after you or competing or feeling entitled to what you have, or I don't know, kind of saying things that aren't true, or like actually actively putting you down, whether that's to you or, you know, behind your back. It's like confirmation. I feel like some of you may actually be really questioning your own sense of judgment, and you may have questioned whether this person's intentions were like, you know, whether that was their intentions was to put you down, or whether it was just them kind of being careless or not really thinking when they said something, or, you know, like I feel like this group, you may have actually been thinking into it too much. So the reason that this is coming up is because it's like, you're not acknowledging your own reality of what's happened here, and you're not acknowledging that this person's actions, whatever it was that has happened, it's like you're not acknowledging the reality of what they've done here, or how they've acted, or what they've done to you, or how they've carried themselves, or how they've like spun a narrative or something like that. And so it's very much confirmation for you. It's like validation, it's acknowledgement, because you may be in a position where other people have kind of dismissed it, they don't understand it, or it seems like it's nitpicky, or they don't want to get involved or something here like that, which is all good and well, that's fine. But there's also an essence here of like spirit wants you to have love for yourself, even when other people can't see past themselves, okay? All right, so we're going to take another card. I'm just hearing it's not all about you. So I'm just wondering, Spirit, is that something that they would say about our collective, or is that something that this other person needs to recognize? No, it's something that this person needs to recognize within themselves. Like whatever this is not about them. You could have been something that you said to this person. I actually want to I just want to take a moment and see if I can get anything else out of these cards before I kind of move on. I just heard, so there may have been like whatever this happy Three of Cups situation was, when a new opportunity arose, this person felt like they wanted to shut it down. So what else did we have? We also had the Nine of Cups and the Ten of Swords. I just heard it was their wish fulfillment to see you fail. And then, yeah, and then when you were grieving, they were hoping to kind of catch the upswing in energy, or waiting for the tables to turn in their favor, so that they would actually be this person with a perceived, I don't know, more, the person with more, whatever that is, whether that's more attention or more, I don't know, it seems very superficial. And I think once they got there, they found themselves very lonely or something like that. Like maybe whatever this was that they tried to do actually worked. And then they were kind of left facing themselves and their own shadow. And I think there is actually some sort of bystander here. So there's either been a third party that has witnessed whatever happened that's just keeping tabs on it, or it's someone's spirit guides that's watching this all play out, and they're actually watching the tables turn. In fact, not in this person's favor. It's like whatever comes up must go down. So it's like this person thought they could catch the wave up and be on top, but like little did they know it's really hard to balance being in that position, because there is an essence of having to be like yourself and being very fair. And it's like when you lean too hard one way, all of a sudden, you know, you lean too far that way and then you're on the downswing again. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, and then we had, what else? We had like the Nine of Swords and the Six of Swords. Just being forced to move on. I think that whatever this was, it probably comes off like this person was being super callous or calculated or had an agenda or something like that. And I do feel like those things are true kind of from what we've seen come through, right? Obviously. But there is something here where it's like, I think you probably meant a lot more to this person, or the outcome meant a lot more to this person. I think it's both, because it's like, in essence, it's like, yes, they obviously wanted to like perceivably win at whatever this was, but like, it feels like they broke their own heart at the same time. And I have to say, it begins to feel like a collective energy, not just in my like little, not within the Air, Moon, Eris collective itself, but across like a broader energy. And there's something here where it's like, I don't know, it's like people experiencing their own karma through you, and to a degree you experiencing your karma through other people, where it's kind of like people may have had a chance to kind of do something here to get right within themselves and the universe, and it's like they repeated the pattern. It's like instead of choosing to grow, they were like, I know what works here, or something like that. It's, I don't know, a bit weird. But we also have this Alethea card. So I just want to take a moment and see if I can get something else off this. It just says, it says, they say that not everything is so black and white like they would say. like they would make out that it is. And there are things here that you're not reading in between the lines of, like you actually need to read between the lines here. There's something that's like kind of obvious, kind of not. Like you could easily miss it, but once you see it, you'll never not be able to see it. Okay, so we're going to read the book. If I can find the book. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, aside from this coming up, I do feel like there is obviously stuff here for us to take in, but I hope the collective is doing well anyway. And yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I do feel called to say that there is an element here where even if our conscious mind is kind of aware of whatever's playing out and we think that we conceptualize or understand roughly whatever the situation is, there is to a degree a part of us that does not. So it's kind of like trying to reach through like a deeper level of consciousness here. So it's like maybe the reason, not the only reason, but one of many reasons this continues to come up is so that you actually can, you know, unconsciously or subconsciously take in the information that it may take time to process this. It may take weeks, it may take months to process some of this stuff. And that you may find that if these messages are not really resonating for you now, not in terms of like what has happened, but like the reason for why it continues to come up. So you might maybe like, yes, I know that this happened. Yes, I kind of roughly understand that, you know, maybe they had things that they had to work out and blah, blah, blah. There's like part of it here where you may not understand how it would be beneficial for you to have this message continue to come through. So I don't want to get too lost in the source of that, and I don't want to let it kind of take over. Let's keep going. You could also have just a lot going on. And it's like when you have a lot going on, it takes longer to process these things than it normally would, because I don't feel like this group, I don't feel like you're particularly daft in any means. I feel like you're probably pretty onto it reasonably when you have the capacity to pay attention to what's happening. Anyway, so back to the card. You could also have like a lot of background noise. And so this actually could be like an internal, I don't know, monologue or dialogue or something like that that's going on in your mind that like needs to, it could be like really old. It could be something that's, it could be like an old pattern kind of playing out from, you know, previous relationships that's kind of bleeding into this situation. So I'm not necessarily saying that, I really genuinely feel like this guru have not actually really taken part in anything here as to why this person decided to actually feel like they needed to cut you down in any way. I don't feel like that at all. I very much feel like you're on the receiving end here of what could have actually been a really brilliant kind of connection, but for whatever reason they could not understand that or chose not to embrace it. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking too much. Okay, let's go places. Where is it? Why can I not find it? Yeah, you could have too much of your own sort of mental dialogue or monologue or something going on here that's like from old stuff. So it's like your brain may kind of be telling you, because of the old wiring or the old patterns or the old dynamics, that it looks a certain way that it doesn't in terms of the outcome. So for some of you that potentially have had like a lot of growth or something like that in your life, maybe there were times where you kind of were the cause of something that happened and you know, beat yourself up a bit about it, or you internalized it or something, but it's really a case now where you actually weren't the cause of whatever this was. And so it's like really hard for you to break free from that internalization of this situation. So it's like spirit needs to put it on repeat and replay so that you begin to kind of unconsciously, subconsciously take that in, because it's like you're still at a point of internalizing everything. And, you know, there's a lot that's kind of good qualities about internalizing some stuff, because, you know, we're always very introspective, being self-introspective, and, you know, potentially having we have the ability to neutrally cross-examine ourselves and look at the situation objectively and say, did I do this? No. Did I kind of, have a part to play in how this could have happened? Sort of yes, sort of no, whatever. But it's like, you're not responsible for what has happened here. It's really not your fault, and it's really not your problem. It's somebody else's problem. And I don't even like throwing fault around, because I just feel like this person, they're just coming at this situation from a lower frequency or lower vibrational space within themselves, where there are certain things they don't understand, and that's the level of consciousness that they're at, okay? But in terms of like who did this and that and what in like the human world, I don't feel like you've done anything here. And so this may be part of the process for you to actually realize that you do internalize a lot, or maybe you're already very self-aware, but it's kind of, again, that confirmation, validation, and acknowledgement that this is something that has become a pattern over time, was this like internalizing other people's actions or words. And that, it's like, to us, when we are like walking in our human shoes, not always, but most of our lives, or most of the time, at least when we're younger, it's like very easy, because we are ourselves, to kind of think that a lot that happens around us, we can contribute it to us, because we're the main, denominator, the common denominator that we interface with is like ourselves and the outside world. And when you look at it like that and things happen, it's almost like a misplacing, a misnomer, or I don't know. It's like we're kind of like painting over the reality of everything and saying this negative thing happened because I did this. It's like there's false, it's almost, I don't know if it's brainwashing, or if there's like false ideals here, or there's like some sort of false belief, or limiting self-belief or something like that, where it's like, maybe if I can kind of beat myself up internally, other people will see that I am aware of this and that I don't agree with my actions, and I've kind of brought myself to justice here in some way. So maybe other people will leave me alone. Like maybe other people will see that I don't need extra punishment. Maybe other people will lay off me a little bit or something like that. It doesn't matter where it come from. That's just one example. But it is something, that has potentially played out anyway. So, all right. Althea, I'm really struggling to find this card, and I feel like I'm so not far away, but I know sometimes they kind of like, it takes me longer here straight away. They have to wait for a certain message to come out before they'll give it to me. Okay. Truth. Our soul recognizes the truth. When someone speaks it, a cool wave of relief washes over the room, and all the facts and figures in the world fall by the wayside. Such is the power of Alethea. It has an undeniable resonance that goes beyond the rational. We can also recognize Alethea by its contagiousness. When we hear someone speak the truth, we see the truth within ourselves and are more likely to tell our own story. The Alethea card requires us to step towards an act of truth. This might look like a conversation, a gesture, a poetic act, or a ritual that honors the unveiling of what's being concealed. Reclaiming your own truth is a way to reclaim your vital energy, health, and sense of belonging in the world. And truth has its own wings. Set it free. Mate, how cool are the cards when that lines up with exactly what we were just talking about? But also, I kind of feel called here to say that, like, just because someone else says something is the truth, it doesn't make your truth invalid. So, like, what is your truth? If you're looking to other people for their external validation of what the truth is, what happened here? Like, can you sit with yourself and ask you, what did happen? Recount the steps. How did that make you feel? Why do you think that, things were this way? And if there are things here that you can't account for, that's fine. Maybe that part doesn't matter. Maybe we don't need to know why a person did this to us, but we know what happened, okay? And we know that we didn't do anything to really be on the receiving end of this to kind of deserve this. But maybe that sometimes other people's actions are a stronger reflection of something that, is to do with them. Like, it's not personally directed at us, but it is something that they may personally be dealing with. Okay, do we need to take any more cards? No. Okay. Thank you for taking the time here. If this one resonated, definitely like the video. Thank you for everyone so far that already kind of does engage with the channel when it resonates with you. That's really brilliant. And I hope that this is helpful to you in some way, and I'll see you all in another one. Take care.